Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my Cora and commentary Ashton. And this is our NXT review. And I gotta say, we've gone back to doing reviews because NXT kind of lost us. All the times we did live reactions, it seemed to be getting progressively worse and more boring. I would say that this episode was a step in the right direction. Certainly not without its problems for me, but overall, I actually enjoyed this episode more than I did the last few weeks. How'd you feel about NXT tonight?
I agree with you. Yeah. I mean, obviously, this wasn't the perfect episode. This wasn't an amazing episode, but it was solid, which is more than I could say for the last few.
Absolutely. So let's get right into our first segment, Heat of the Night. I'm gonna just be that guy, and I'm just gonna have my one nitpick being the crowd. I really wish NXT would go to a different venue.
Yeah.
Um,
Low key, they need to start like touring again or something.
yeah, like, and again, this is just my opinion, but perfect example would even be the first segment because we have Mandy Rose come out and she's cutting a promo. And look, I know we could take digs at Mandy Rose like all day, and I'm sure like 98% of them would be deserved. But, she didn't have bad material here. I don't even think she necessarily even conveyed that material badly, but the crowd was popping for her. And, they even started with like, oh, you deserve it. And there was a small pocket that said, no, you don't. But she seemed very over with this crowd. She tried to shut it down by saying, I know I deserve it. I don't need your approval and stuff like that. But I think it's hard for NXT to make solid acts of any alignment when the crowd and I guess as they should, right? Because you're going to say, free speech, all that. But it's hard to really make committed faces or heels when this crowd is just like, we're going to back who we want to back. I mean, MSK getting booed, that's been a story on here before when they're very clearly clear-cut baby faces. And so it kind of hampered what Mandy was trying to do for me, knowing that the crowd was kind of behind her. Although, to Io's credit in the same segment, because she would come out and interrupt Mandy later, the crowd was resolutely behind her. So I think Mandy, because of Io just being Io, was able to get her heel heat back. But yeah, I did kind of have a problem with this crowd at certain points in the show because it's like, okay, like I get that there are acts that we're going to like even when the alignment tells us not to. I understand that more than anyone. But sometimes it feels like it's less about them or less about, the act in question and more about the crowd just looking like, oh, look at us going against the grain kind of thing. So just a nitpick there I wanted to get off my chest. What about you? Do you have anything on your roster tonight?
I think I don't have any like full blown like rage inducing angry heats of the night. Little tiny nitpick is that I don't like that Duke Hudson has already been made. Actually, you know what? This isn't my only nitpick. I don't like that Duke Hudson has already been made to look bad at what he's supposed to be best at, which is the gambling thing.
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from because I didn't know how to
Dude,
feel
it's
about
weird.
that either. And
I
I think,
almost feel like my two
yeah,
nitpicks tonight are basically I wish NXT was more committed to their characters.
yeah, I can understand that. I could definitely understand that because it's like you just started this Duke's Poker Room thing,
Yeah.
and in that series of segments, you could have both really established the character on Hudson's side,
Yeah.
and you could have made a shift on the Grimes side, given that he is more
Yeah,
babyface,
well, and I was
right?
also going to say, like, I wouldn't have wanted for them to go, like, the full other direction for Grimes like they did with Corbin and make him poor or anything, but I do think that Duke basically kind of owning Grimes in the poker room would have made sense, but then Grimes beats Duke in a match. I would have loved that because it's like Grimes isn't a poker player, but he is one hell of a good wrestler, you know?
Yeah, you kind of touched on another nitpick I had. I didn't necessarily want to air it out like on this show, but just something I've been thinking. It's like I just want to see Grimes wrestle. Like obviously he's a great character and he can talk and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but like I miss seeing the dude in the ring.
Hmm.
I've been jonesing for like a Grimes matchup, and not only
Yeah.
do I want him in the ring, like obviously I'm a very demanding fan because I'm just like I want to see him in there with the top tier talent. Like I want to see him in there with Ciampa for the NXT Championship. And again, I've been saying this for months, and I feel like I can also say like we've been saying it because I feel like you've co-signed with me. I've never heard you like rebuke against it, but I just feel like he's been typecast as a comedy character. I just feel like he's the best, like, in-ring guy that's to be a comedy character maybe of all time. Because, I mean, the dude, he can make you laugh one minute and he can put on a clinic with Kyle O'Reilly the next. So I just want to see him wrestle more. But, you know, they're kind of doing what they are with him. But I completely get where you're coming from about investing and just building characters. And it would have been nice if they did that here.
Yeah. All right. Did you have any other heats of the night, or should I get into my second nitpick right away?
Oh, dude, absolutely. It's all yours. Your second nitpick?
My second nitpick is actually Dakota Kai related.
Okay, I was interested in talking about all this, but we can do that now. So what was your nitpick related to this?
Okay, so it's kind of multi-layered because first of all, I don't like that they booked this match at all. You don't need Cora Jade to be the one that loses to Dakota Kai in Dakota Kai's first match back. That's just unnecessary. They could have kept building Cora without having her lose to Dakota here. But also, I really wish they would have kept the fucking Gravedigger shtick. Like, what the hell? Basically, we're just seeing like broken Dakota now. Like, I'm sorry, but there was so much, and again, I'm being very on the nose with this, what I'm about to say here. There was so much to unearth with that character because she could have literally, and we've had people say this before. They're not trying to hide this term as they're not trying to like, the way that they don't want you to call someone a mark or a face or a heel or whatever. They don't give a shit about the term bury. They've used it on TV multiple times before. There is literally no reason they couldn't have Dakota Kai going around saying, I've been getting buried for the last like 3 years here in NXT. It's my turn to do the burying. Like, that would have been fucking perfect. And she could have used the fucking shovel as like her signature weapon the way Triple H has Sledgy. I don't get why they didn't go all in on this gimmick.
I think that's fair, but you know what? You said it's multi-layered, so I want you to talk about everything before I respond, so I can respond effectively and kind.
I did.
So
that was everything.
Okay, that was everything. Yeah. I mean, there's really not much to say then if that was everything. Like, I understand where you're coming from. I will say, from my side of things, if they are going with a quote-unquote broken Dakota, I already love it so much more than like broken Matt Hardy, because like that was to me. Just I was always annoyed by it. I didn't get it. Maybe it just wasn't my thing. But with Dakota, I like how she's kind of muttering to herself like throughout matches. She's got the little head ticks. It's almost like she's fighting something inside of herself.
I mean, dude,
very subtle.
That is the one thing that I will say is that she, like the performer, is fucking great at this.
Oh my god, yeah. I love how like again I just go back to like how I'm feeling, like the subtlety of it. It's not over dramatic. It's not hammy. And there are already people theorizing about like what the struggle is. Like I already saw somebody on Twitter saying, Dakota struggles with herself because there's still some baby face left in her, which I personally disagree with.
Dude, I was even going to say, like, one of my thoughts while I was watching her match with Cora Jade is that it has got to be among the stupidest decisions I've ever seen made on a wrestling program for somebody to decide to try and make Dakota Kai a demented heel. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, I really don't know where this is going to go with Dakota. I mean, to be honest, I'm shocked she's even still on NXT. Yeah. I really thought she would have been a huge get for SmackDown, during the draft. Yeah. They obviously didn't go that route, but I'm already loving how she's doing this. Like, I get what you're saying 100% because, you look at the vignettes and the aesthetic of everything, and then when she comes back, it's like there's nothing of that aesthetic left. So it's like it's a huge tonal shift, but at least the tone that she seems to be kind of dwelling in, she's excelling at. And she just goes to show that she is one of the best that division has. And I keep hoping one of these days she's going to get her fucking title run. I don't think it'll happen, but a man can dream if nothing else. So great stuff by her, but I get where you're coming from because I was a bit perplexed by it as well. Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I think that covers my problems with the show.
All right, then let us get into our NXT review.
Oh, yeah. I will say I was unable to see the first 10 minutes of the show. I tuned in as Dakota Kai was making her entrance, and then, of course, Cora Jade came out after that, and we got the match. So I completely missed everything that happened in the first 10 minutes, which really sucks because you mentioned Io showed up, and I missed her. Fuck.
Yeah, so Mandy pretty much comes out, as I alluded to in the first segment when talking about my nitpicks with the crowd. She gets her heel heat, says she's still the baddest. bitch in the whole goddamn building. They really bleeped out goddamn, which kind of surprised me. And, you know, she's talking about how, like, you know, this is Toxic Attractions NXT, talking about how well her girls did. And she's like, oh, where are Gigi and JC? Where are you girls? And then it pans to the back where they're taking out Zoe Stark. So, dude, in my mind, this confirms our fears that Zoe is definitely injured because they did the whole backstage, like, medics were surrounding her as she's screaming in pain, like favoring her leg and her knee.
Oh, wow.
And Gigi and JC were like proud of themselves. You know, they've done that before with Tegan, even with Candace. And we knew that, yeah. So I don't know how long Zoe's going to be out, but it might be a hot minute. So you guys may want to take a deep seat as far as that goes. And then I think Mandy lays down the gauntlet, like if anybody wants to challenge like anything I said or whatever. Io's music hits to a big pop. It's really comforting to know that despite kind of the weird place that Io's been in, that the crowd, for as much as I may have misgivings with them, is still solidly behind her. She is still very much over. And she's on the mic and she says, I don't like Zoe, but I like you even less. And I want to fight you right now. Now, Mandy, you know how you always say, like, you hated, and I feel like she's kind of dropped this, maybe, I don't know, maybe I haven't been actively listening, but when Sasha would say, like, sweetheart a lot once upon a time, and that word would be used as, like, an insult, we've gone from sweetheart to, with Mandy Rose, honey. She called Io honey a lot in this. She's like, oh,
that's
honey.
Mandy, dude. She comes, like, dude, you got to remember, she was literally, like, she was managed by Paige at one point, and Paige is always about, like, the, oh, sweetheart, like, that whole thing, like, it's like the for some reason there was an era in WWE on the main roster when all of the women used like endearing pet names to try and be like catty towards each other. It was fucking awful. I hated it, and apparently now Mandy's bringing it back.
Yeah, it persists here, friend. And she tries to tell Io, you know, I'm not scared of you. Get a referee down here. Io like glances to the front ramp, you know, for the referee to come out. Mandy takes this opportunity, you know, to kind of blindside Io and get the jump on her. She's attacking her. Loud Io chants to the crowd again, just to illustrate how over she is. Io does retake control. She gets the knees in the corner, goes for the moonsault. JC and Gigi come out. They take Io down. Io then gets, she evens the odds again. She gets Gigi out of the ring, and I think she gets JC in a choke. That's some like Joe shit. I'm like, damn, Io. Then Mandy comes at her again. So they're really illustrating the numbers game. But then, and I did kind of groan at this, and this is something I didn't want to make a nitpick because I feel like that's just being a bit unfair and a bit heavy-handed. But, Jesus, Casey and Caden come out and make the save for Io.
God damn it!
Yeah. So
fucking hell, man, again.
Casey and Caden look like they're going to be the first challengers for Toxic Attractions title reign.
But more importantly and more awfully, they are going to be associated with Io even more now going forward.
Yeah, I mean, the only defense I can make of this, and somewhat of a credit of NXT, because I'm trying to put my bias aside, and I feel like we should always strive to do that, is that these two are connected, because before JC and Gigi, hooked up with Mandy and made Toxic Attraction, Casey and Caden did beat them in a tag match. Now, this was a while ago.
You're right. Like, the thing is, the booking isn't bad. The decision to have Casey Catanzaro be someone who's being pushed at all is the thing that's bad.
Yeah, exactly.
The diminutive dumbass being pushed is the bad decision.
Yeah, that's goddamn. It's rare that a phrase I coin has that much power, but man, it just sticks when you see how Casey fucking acts. But yeah, Io's gonna face Mandy. Now, you know, it's difficult, right? Because we are also fans, and you're also gonna get the fan perspective on this show. You always have. It's not this like, oh, we're gonna compartmentalize. No, we let you see all of it. I'm a fan of Io. I don't have to tell you guys, Ashton's a fucking fan of Io. So I'm just kind of like bemused because I'm like, man, Io is so good that once again she's gonna make a shitter have like a really good match in her title reign because she gave Raquel her matches with Io never got eclipsed to me in her title reign. Dakota came the closest because I did enjoy what her and Dakota did together, but it's fucking Dakota.
And then, of course, because Io is also not only goddamn amazing, but also a goddamn professional, she's gonna fucking put Mandy over too.
Oh, big time. Big time. Abso-freaking-lutely. But then that leads me with the question, though, and yes, sighing and groaning, definitely welcome and encouraged. It's not only legal, it's allowed. But, you know.
It's funny because you said the word that he should have audibled to before you said what he actually said. Encouraged.
Exactly.
It's not just legal, it's encouraged. God damn it, Batista. Oh, anyway,
We
go
love
ahead.
you, Dave. We love you, Dave.
Take some improv classes, you schmuck.
Wow. Dude, he's getting that Marvel money. Watch your
Dude,
tone.
no, yeah, I was even gonna say that's strictly me talking to like 05 Batista, not now. He's a professional actor now, Christ.
Just coming up to you say something. No.
I'm a big fan. You're one of my faves.
but no, speaking of big fan and faves, you know, the question does pose itself. You put EO in a middling tag team that didn't see any kind of a payoff. Like, I'm sorry, if you want to do strange bedfellows, either keep them as enemies and have a fierce program like they did with Angle Benoit, of course, one of my favorites, or have the respect come with book dust. You know, that was another great example of how they did that. This was a middling tag team that didn't benefit either person, and now Zoe's injured. And now, instead of thinking like, man, you know, maybe we should get EO in a great program, even against people that I don't like, I feel like it'd be a better use of EO. Like, I know they're big on Kaylee Ray. I'm not, and I know you're not, but I feel like that would still be better than this, because we know Mandy's going to go over, and it's like, okay, well, that's another hit that EO stock has taken in NXT. Can we get her to SmackDown, please, to be rehabilitated? Or Raw. I don't really care which. Maybe Raw would even be better because it's away from Charlotte. But, you know, just do something else with EO, because it's clear that she's not going to win here. I could actually see Mandy, because she has the faction, being a long reigning champion. Like, I could even see her go 6+ months at least, just with the backing and everything. So I don't see EO winning here. Casey and Caden, they're obviously not going to win, but I hate that they're even in the title picture at all. And yeah, so a lot of women here in this segment. As you noted, because you came back for this, Dakota Kai was backstage. Mandy kind of touched her on the shoulder. She's like, hey, you know, about Halloween Havoc. And Dakota Kai just cuts her off and says, I didn't do it for you. I did it to end Raquel. And she just kind of brushes past them, and she goes to the curtain and everything. And
how can you have her say shit like that and expect us to not cheer for her? What?
I know, because, like, that's what we wanted. We wanted Raquel to be ended, like, and Dakota's like, all right.
Yeah, she's, like, going out of her way to be like, I didn't do it to help you, the heel, win. I did it to break Raquel, the other heel.
Yeah, really. So before we get to Dakota Kai versus Cora Jade, we get you know, Duke's poker room, at least the first.
Yeah, the first segment where he's like trying to tell Grimes that he's going to strike out with the woman that he was next to.
Yeah, and somebody struck out. It wasn't Grimes though, as we already kind of talked about. We kind of arrived
Ooh, burn.
Guess the house didn't win, huh? But then we got Dakota Kai versus Cora Jade. Your misgivings about this match are definitely noted. I also wanted to add to your point. I didn't think about it at the time, but I'm thinking of it here. It low-key kind of makes commentary look bad. And like, here's the problem with that, right? Because I'm very old school. You know the commentary teams I grew up on, you know, Cole and Taz on SmackDown, JR and King on Raw.
Of course.
Commentators are supposed to tell stories. They're supposed to convey the emotions, everything happening in there.
Someone
and they're supposed to
remind Vic Joseph of that, because he does not do that at all.
No, he doesn't. But they also, to me, are supposed to, how can I put this? Kind of telegraph like who's on the rise and who isn't. And when you have Joseph, make it explicit that Cora Jade has been on a win streak, and then moments later she loses, and then you have the heel throw back in his face. What was that about that streak, Vic? Like, to me, it's not necessarily a good look, you know, to kind of augment your point, because I think if anybody is supposed to be a reliable narrator and everything going on, it should be commentary first and foremost. So when you go and you do that, because when you tell me she's on a win streak, say I'm a first-time listener, I'm like, oh, this Cora Jade must be legit. And then I see somebody like Dakota just dismantle her. I'm like, oh, so she was the legit one the whole time. So yeah, just a bit of a misgiving I had myself with all of this. But again, I adore Dakota. Again, she did great character beats throughout the match where she was muttering to herself. Like,
did you notice the chants?
Like what did they chant? Because I might have missed that.
Coda's gonna kill you.
Ah, interesting. Because I know they did a similar thing for Ciampa later in the night. Ew.
Oh my god, this fucking crowd.
They're basic as fuck, bro. I'm telling you. But yeah, Dakota does win with the KO kick. I love that that's been upgraded to finisher, and I really hope
Fucking
they commit.
finally, right?
It should have been the whole time. So like
Yeah.
this reboot, they're doing everything right now, except giving her the championship. So after after she wins, it looks like she's gonna do more of a post-match beatdown. She's dragging Cora by the hair, which
This
way to
was
be a good
so fucking weird.
yeah, because like she's dragging her by the hair. She brings a table out, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna put her through the table. That's fucking hardcore. No, she lays it on top of her. And then I'm like, oh, okay, so she's gonna do a weird thing where it's like, I'm about to splinter your face and do like a double stomp into the table, into the person in
That's what I
question.
thought she was gonna do too, is a double stomp off the apron, and then she's just like, "No, this is wrong." And then she like gets down and she checks on Cora and she backs up into the stairs and grabs her fucking mini tiny little skateboard and puts it on her tummy and then walks away.
Yeah, and all the while, I had two thoughts because again, Dakota's doing the best with what she's given. None of this is about her. But my two thoughts are, what the hell was that? And two, Trey Baxter, you're the worst boyfriend ever. Like, all of that happened. She really deliberated it, and Trey Baxter's just like, no, I really want to see how this plays out.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
what the fuck?
Trey Baxter for the sake of Cora Jade, yes, but also why did Raquel not come out to try and attack or at least stop Dakota here? Isn't Raquel supposed to be a babyface? Like, if you're genuinely trying to convince me that Raquel Gonzalez is supposed to be a babyface, at least have her come to the defense of a babyface that's about to be fucking destroyed by your biggest heel rival.
You know, bro, that's definitely a fair point. I just kind of chalked it up to she was selling the attack from Halloween Havoc, the shovel to the back and everything. So I took it as,
oh, jeez.
well, yeah. I mean, again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that was the assumption I made by the absence of Raquel, that she wasn't going to be in because, you know, physically and maybe even psychologically, like, oh, you know.
That just frustrates me even more, though, that Dakota isn't keeping the shovel. Because if they're going to put the fucking shovel over to the point that they're having Raquel miss a week from one simple shot to the back from it, why is Dakota not continuing to use it as a weapon?
I mean, bro, you're not the only one disappointed. When I thought Dakota was running with this Gravedigger gimmick, and I know Dominique's not here, so he can't vouch for me, but I know we interacted about it on Twitter. I was kind of hoping, because she cost Raquel, obviously, and we all saw it, that they would do a cinematic match between those two that would be like a Buried Alive match for the women.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be fucking huge for Dakota.
But
she could beat Raquel
no shovel in sight. Like when, dude, you gotta understand, when she lifted the ring skirt and started reaching into the ring, I was like, oh my god, she's gonna get a fucking shovel and use it on Cora. But no, it was just a table. And I'm just like, oh, this doesn't fit her character at all anymore.
Yeah. It's just they've completely shifted it. It's almost like the Gravedigger thing was more just, I'm going to bury my past and then I can move forward. And so in her mind, the past has been dealt with. So what does the future look like? Well, the future's a conflict, an internal conflict, which isn't a bad thing, mind you. But, you know, it's like, I think our problems as Dakota Kai fans, and we've been very careful to say the criticism is not with Dakota, is what is her character and what are we supposed to be watching unfold? We don't know what her story is.
Yep.
And yeah. So it seems like her story again is just dealing with the inner hatred and rage and stuff like that. But is that going to shift again when Raquel comes back? Because Raquel seemingly isn't going to take this line down unless she's getting called up, which I highly doubt. I feel like at least you would settle this first.
You'd think.
And
right?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, after that we get MSK vignette. What did you think about this, man? First thing they did since losing the titles.
Dude, here's my thing. This was kind of fun, a little stupid, but I'm totally forgiving of it because of the number one most important thing. They got these dudes out of the fucking crowd arena.
Definitely.
Like, I don't know.
I was very happy to see that as well.
I don't know if they're planning on continuing to use MSK in the ring, if they're going to turn them heel so that the crowd reaction is appropriate, or if they're just doing this as like little character beats so that they can maybe have like one last match and then leave. But get them the fuck out of Full Sail, please. Please.
Yeah, I really, again, just because I somewhat prefer SmackDown even still because of you know the people on there, I just immediately think go to SmackDown, have Tag Team Feud of the Year with the Usos. But really either show I think would be a step up from being in that arena because like my God, you know, that arena just heckles them every fucking week. So it's good to see them get a break. We go from that to, God, I had such a roller coaster of emotions with this fucking segment. So we find out between segments, right, that Robert Stone has laid down a challenge to Zion Quinn on Twitter because Quinn
Yep.
put him to the table looking like Elvis. And my God, we come back and we're doing this. Robert Stone is 100% that guy, that douchebag, hair straight out of the 80s. I don't know what kind of fucking shorts he's wearing. And he's like, oh, I forget exactly what he said because I was in awe of it the whole time. But he's like, you know, pretty much I'm going to out-sing you, I'm going to beat you up, and then I'm going to pin you 1, 2, 3. And then he has production.
I know at
cue
one
up
point he
Frankie
said, "I'm gonna
Muniz theme.
stomp ya in my rompa."
Oh God, yeah, yeah. And then he had production cue up Frankie Monet's theme, which he sings like "I'm bougie and bad." It's like he's singing it and he's so extra and he's all over the place. Oh my God, I died like in a good way because like Robert Stone's just so good. I love how this man commits. See, this to me is comedy done right when like you go all out with it and you're not afraid to look the fool.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of comedy that tries to make the other person look like the fool, I'm not as into that in wrestling, unless you're really intelligent about it, like Toriano. Like Toriano does it in a very cerebral way, not in a mean-spirited way.
Yeah.
But any other type of comedy, like you've got to be committed to making yourself the fool. That's why the stuff that William Regal did like 10 years ago still gets a fucking pop out of me. I watched like a few weeks ago when he dressed up as Goldust for that Raw Roulette, and he tells Goldust, wait a minute. And he tries, like, you can tell he's corpsing midway through, but he tries to do the Goldust deep breath. And then he chomps right in Goldust's face, and then Goldust, as Regal, hits him with the brass knucks. I die. Because it's fucking great. And Regal's always said, you got to be willing to laugh at yourself. And Robert Stone personifies that to me to a T, and he's so good at it. And he's like, oh, you know, you think you could beat that? And then Zion Quinn, at first he's doing the typical like tough guy stuff. He's like, you know, this is embarrassing. This is stupid. Like I'm just here to kick your ass. And crowd pops for it. They're waiting for it. And then Zion's like, actually, you know what? Get some music going, please. And he does Sexy Boy, HBK. Now at this point, I'm kind of like, oh God, you know, oh God, I'm starting to cringe a little bit. But then Robert Stone gets involved again because Zion intercepts what would be offense from Stone into dance moves.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my God. And then I was just over the moon sold with this segment because Stone tries again towards the end of it to get offense. He lifts Stone up, kind of like they do that like airplane maneuver, like, you know, couples, whatever. He sets him down.
Dirty Dancing lift.
Yeah, Dirty Dancing lift. Stone slaps him in the face, and here's the thing. You know
Actually,
how,
was
like,
it Dirty Dancing or was it Grease? I don't even know anymore, honestly.
it doesn't matter. It's dancing. But you know, he slaps him in the face, and it brought me back to when you were laughing so hard when Fandango was so proud of himself for taking out El Torito in that Rumble, because Stone's smile, he was so proud of himself for getting that slap. Like, excessively proud of himself. I was dying. And Quinn just says, ring the bell. And Stone's face is like, oh, fuck. And he tries to get away, but he doesn't. Quinn just demolishes him, ends it with a jackhammer. Let me ask you something before I hand it to you, because I want to talk about this a little bit. Have you seen the GIF kind of making the rounds online of a match that Quinn had? I'm guessing like on 205 Live or something, where he was going for a vertical leap, but he must have like kind of botched a little bit.
Oh yeah,
so he
turned it into a sling blade.
Yeah, like dude's got athleticism for sure. He's got a great look, and you know, I know Big E, who's currently the WWE champion, has been about, you know, everybody keeps telling me to, you know, be more serious. I think you can have charisma, you can have fun, you can have a good time, and you could still be an ass kicker. And it seems like that's kind of maybe the blueprint for Quinn because they want him to have a bit more personality. So my question to you is, you know, what are you thinking about Zion Quinn and how they're using him presently? And what did you think of this segment more specifically as far as tonight goes?
Dude, if you would have asked me at the beginning of the segment how I felt about it, I would have been able to tell you straight away. I loved this. I loved almost everything about this. Like, I think the thing that I liked least about it was that they were so transparent and like on the nose that they literally gave the dude who they're trying to push as a fucking I mean God fuck, I hate it when I can't think of words. God damn it. like a sex icon almost on NXT. They gave him Sexy Boy. Like, it's just way too on the nose. But he pulled it off, and everything else about the segment was
Yeah.
fucking great. I loved it, and I even love that he fucking won with the jackhammer, because I feel like the first time that I like really noticed him, I literally said they could push this dude as the next Goldberg.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's kind of what they're maybe going for. Maybe again a bit too on the nose with the jackhammer and everything, and he hasn't lost yet.
No.
So I'm just wondering when this crowd, because you know they will, because it seems typical of this crowd, is going to start chanting Zion, Zion, like in that cadence.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought this was great. This honestly, because we didn't get any Diamond Mine and therefore we
Segment
didn't
of
get
the
any
night?
Malcolm Bivens tonight. Yeah, I think so. I was dying laughing at this. So yeah, and by the way, NXT, not having Malcolm Bivens on your program, that's an unspoken heat of the night. Okay, shame on yourself. Go to your room. Joe Gacy vignette. I don't even want to talk about this. We know the fucking gimmick. We don't like it. It's cringe.
I'm beginning to feel like they're gonna turn him into like one of those like extremist incel like terrorist types.
Dude, I hope you're fucking right, because with how
Like
quickly they are to make
before he writes a manifesto kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he has a face that looks like it could write a manifesto any second.
Yeah.
And with how pissed I got about Ali and the whole promo they had him cut, I mean, you're so quick, and by you I mean, WWE is so quick to take any black or brown person that they want to make heel and have those extremist tendencies, stuff like that, or even just be like, oh, you're the problem, America's the problem, and make it seem like a heel thing. Because no, we're great. Didn't you see we have tribute to the troops come up? I saw a commercial for that tonight, and I nearly gagged. That it would be nice if you were actually honest about the cultural moment that we're in, and you did a gimmick like Gacy that honestly reflected the real domestic terrorists, and that's fucking incels and jaded white people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's. Dude, honestly, if they committed to that, and I mean really committed to that, and then had a baby face, preferably again, a black man, continuing, black excellence, stuff like that, be the one to just beat his ass and put him in his place. I would honestly, I would throw so many goddamn flowers at that, truthfully. But I'm kind of holding my breath. I'm taking it week by week. But, it is what it is right now.
What name did they give Boudreaux?
Oh, God, I honestly forget, honestly.
Dude, I feel like I ask this every week, and we always forget, and someone in chat always has our back.
I know. Sorry, guys. Maybe just, I don't know, maybe they should make it more memorable. I don't fucking know. Harland. I don't know if he has a last name. It's just Harland.
I think he does.
I'm looking at his Twitter right now. Yeah. Jesus. Just looking at his Twitter.
Yeah. I swear to God, Gacy's promo tonight had such incel energy. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, it shows you how out of touch whoever's writing this shit is, because they think that, like, leftists are, like, the fucking incel types that go on to write manifestos and shit, when it's been pretty much proven that it's much more likely to be extreme rightists.
Yes, exactly. It's just so incredibly fucking dishonest and disconnected, again, from what's happening in the real world. And I think if you're going to be a cultural product, you've got to at least mirror somewhat honestly what's happening outside of your bubble. And just WWE, I feel like for years has just been incapable of doing that, beyond shoehorning a reference of like, oh, did you see the Oscars last night or something on commentary, which is a completely different thing. So after this, we get LDF and backstage, Elektra Lopez leading Mendoza and Wild in the back. Elektra sees Quinn.
Yep.
More or less praises, what he did out there. And,
she said, like, I can work with that, I think. Like, she's, like, sizing him up.
Yeah, which is very interesting, because I definitely see Quinn as more of a babyface, and he just got propositioned by a heel act. So, don't really know where that's going to go.
I will say, something that I wanted to mention earlier but forgot to. Fucking love Zion Quinn's accent.
Oh, yeah. Same. Dude's got the look, the voice. Yeah. I mean, he really is the complete package right now.
He's another one, like we already mentioned with Braun Breaker. Like, this is another dude that they could literally strap the world title on anytime they want, and I wouldn't complain one bit.
Absolutely. We get O'Reilly and Von Wagner versus LDF. I'm just going to say right now, bro. Actually, you know what? Before I say anything, what did you think about this match? I want to hear your thoughts first on this.
I really wish you would have asked me this about the last segment and not this one because I barely paid attention to this and I love the last one.
Oh,
But
wow. Okay.
yeah, this one was like I mean it was fine. It wasn't crazy good or anything, but I know LDF won. I know they pinned Wagner, and I know that there was one spot where O'Reilly did like the wobbly legs into the fucking armbar spot, and that's about all I remember from it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say before, checking in with you that I like that LDF won here. It would have been a heat of the night for me if LDF had lost because KOR and Wagner just came together.
Right.
And I hate when they do that, like, oh, maybe there's some magic to this tag team. No, fuck you. This team has been together far longer. Like, eat my ass.
Oh my god.
So knowing that LDF won, I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. They're an established tag team. Plus, Kyle just
Does
got done
it
saying,
matter that Elektra helped them win?
no, I don't think so because they're
Okay.
heels, and like you just
Right.
accept that. Yeah,
Okay.
I wasn't even mad. So yeah, and Kyle has trust issues. So to me, like it shouldn't be that easily resolved because you had a campfire or some shit. Like work at it. I will say for the babyface team, really interesting to see that ever since NXT 2.0 became a thing, that Kyle O'Reilly just cooled way the fuck off.
Yep.
Because I mean, you're talking an old NXT. He looked like he was on the cusp of the world title, and now they're building him up for a tag team story with Wagner, who I do like. I just want to make it clear that I am a fan of Von Wagner. I like the guy's size. I like how he moves in the ring. It's just good stuff all around from him. But LDF winning was 1,000% the right call to me. Because Jesus Christ, if you're having Imperium as champions, you're going to need every entertaining tag team at the ready, for title defenses. And I love Legado del Fantasma. I think they're wonderful. Again, absence of Escobar tonight as well. Escobar and Bivens off the same show. Really pushing it in NXT. We get Trick and Carmelo interviewed. What did you think of this?
Yeah, wait. Oh, this was the one where they were like, wait, I don't think I remember them getting interviewed. What? Just give me just an overview of what they said here because I don't remember.
Pretty much they corrected the interviewer because I don't know if it was Mackenzie or what, that Carmelo isn't the North American champion. I should say he isn't the North American champion, just to enunciate that. He's the A champion because, he's been saying that, like, oh, if I hold this title, it's the A title. And he said, tonight it's not about like haunted houses or whatever. Gargano and Loomis, they're in our house. And when you're in that NXT ring with us, we don't miss. And Andre
Yeah,
Chase.
I don't remember any of this. Oh, I remember Andre Chase showing up and them saying that people are saying that he's a coward, but I don't remember their interview at all.
Yeah, and they were actually shocked to see Andre Chase. They're like, "Oh, you're alive?" He's like, "Yeah," and he said, because you guys helped me out, I've definitely got your back tonight." And then they just leave it, and they're just like, "Man, guy's tripping, or that's wild, or something to that effect." And yeah, the interviewer brings up that people have been calling Chase a coward. Chase gets apoplectic about it, but then he just kind of leaves. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to call somebody out for a fight right now." And he does that, and Braun Breaker answers. Chase goes in the ring. He cuts a promo, says, "Anybody wants a PhD and ass kicking, come on down."
Really intense in this. Like, it was like that moment when the guy that you've only ever seen as kind of a joke decides to be like really serious and angry, and it's like almost scary.
Yeah, yeah. And Braun Breaker's music hits, and you can even see Chase's face just be like,
God damn it.
exactly.
Yeah.
More or less destroys him, belly to belly, good stuff. Breaker looks so good in there. Gets his power slam finish. Gets the 3 count.
And then cuts a promo.
What did you think of his promo? I really
Loved
wanted
it.
your thoughts on this promo.
The only bad thing about this promo was the crowd booing it.
Oh, God, yeah. Fuck this crowd, dude. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the crowd was booing him the entire time with one exception, and that was when he said, Ciampa is still the man around here. That was the only time the crowd had a positive reaction to anything he said. Yeah, but I loved the promo. Actually, I'm the exact opposite. I loved everything about the promo except for that part. But I do like that he's still hungry and that he looked dead into the camera, which I kind of envisioned as being Ciampa's eyes, because of course Ciampa's going to be watching it, and said, Ciampa, you and I aren't done. I'm coming for that title, and next time we face, I'm gonna win it.
Or die trying.
Or die.
And,
Yes, that was a great line. That was a great line. Or die trying. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, dude? I really got to give Breaker credit, continuing the Steiner tradition of being able to cut a fucking promo. But this time for the really right reasons. Like, I love that as a babyface, he owned up. Like, I failed. My inexperience. Like, he was so honest with himself and the crowd. That's why fuck this crowd, man.
I even
God
love that, like, he even kind of went a little inside baseball in a way. Like, if wrestling was a real sport, he kind of went a little inside baseball and said, like, Ciampa laid trap after trap after trap, and I fell for every single one. Like, I loved that. That was like, damn, no one really talks like that. I love that he talks like that.
It was just so honest. And you know what?
Yeah.
Like, even when he said at the end, like, he got fired up, it never once was like that rah-rah speech or that maudlin sentimentality that we kind of like.
It just felt Steiner.
It just felt Steiner, and it felt authentic. I got my ass kicked, but that doesn't mean like I'm done. That's not a punctuation. It's just another page in the fucking story.
Yep.
And yeah, it was beautiful. I love this. I'm telling you, Braun Breaker's really growing on me, and I think that's what NXT wants. They want his fanfare.
I think the two acts that have been carried over from NXT pre 2.0 that I like most are EO and Grimes. But everything else that I like about NXT right now is because of the 2.0. It's like Gigi and Breaker and Zion and Mei Ying, which we didn't see her tonight, but we did see Boa. Like, I feel like everything that I like about NXT right now, except for EO and Cameron, is new. It's 2.0.
Yeah, and speaking of Mei Ying, we might have to have a little talk about that later, because I'm really wondering what they're going to do with that. But we'll get to that in a little bit. We get an Imperium promo. Now, here's something I do like as well about NXT 2.0. And I hope they start doing this with fucking EO and any other Japanese action when Sarai comes back up, because I hope we're not done seeing her on fucking NXT.
Sarai.
You and me both.
Why did they hide her on 205?
I don't know, dude. Because
I love the subtitles, though. I will give you that for sure.
Yeah. And really, I just want to scream, like, where was this? You could have had, like, Kyrie and Asuka and all them, like, in NXT, like, doing this kind of thing. It's just like, God damn it.
This isn't 20 years too technological development, you fucks.
Yeah, someone gonna get their ass beat, bro. I'm telling you. But yeah,
I call Mark Henry, but he's a bootlicker too.
I know. Oh, Jesus. Imperium pretty much saying like, oh, you know, they're proud to be the two-time NXT Tag Team Champions, especially after MSK's pathetic performance. They don't really compromise with American ideals, blah, blah, blah. Then Gigi and JC interrupt. They inform us that there's going to be a 6-woman tag next week. So them and Mandy, presumably against EO and Casey and Caden.
Yeah.
And they actually invite Imperium to join. And then Bartel says, oh, I guess America has its benefits. So, you know, there you go.
Yeah. Gigi Dolan is a benefit in America, no doubt.
Yeah. And then we get to another segment that I was excited to kind of get into with you because, you know, this character is very interesting just because of his fanfare online, seemingly. We get Lashing Out with Lash Legend with Tony D'Angelo. So what did you think? Oh my God,
I loved this. Jesus. I loved this, dude. This was like, again, like Andre Chase. It's like we're going from this dude that we kind of don't take seriously, that's kind of fun and cool, to now like, oh my God, what the fuck? This is dark.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, he brings on, was it Lash's producer or manager?
It was producer Mark.
Producer. Yeah. And he has, I mean, Mark has a broken arm. He's got his arm in a sling. And he's like, oh yeah, Mark, I love this guy. He's awesome. You know, he's got a beautiful wife. Go ahead, say hi to your wife at home. And again, he like names her name. I don't even remember what it was. And he's like, yeah, this guy, he's so cool. He's got a beautiful family. His wife, and then of course his 2 children, his 2 beautiful kids. And then he names them, and he's like, go ahead, say hey to the boys or whatever. He's just like going out of his way to make it blatantly clear that if Mark doesn't comply with what Tony D'Angelo wants, his family is literally at risk.
Can I just say, as a man that proudly grew up on mob movies, this was amazing. I mean, my God. like Goodfellas being one of the best of all time, and I definitely get Goodfellas vibes a lot of the time from D'Angelo. And yeah, just I love that he name dropped the wife and kids because I think that made it extra personal. And you see Lash just looking like, oh my god, like you know what? I'm just like, oh yeah, don't worry. I love the arm in a sling, like, dude. That is one thing I'll give NXT 2.0. It has its points where it's tedious. I mean, again, it was so tedious we've gone back to reviewing it. But there are certain gems in there that if you keep playing your cards right, you really are actually creating another WWE generation fucking finally. And that is so goddamn encouraging.
When was the last time they did this? Like 2013, 14-ish maybe?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's literally felt like, you know, WWE produced PWG since then.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I'm a fan of and I can get behind, but I'm also, this is nice and refreshing in its own way as well. I like this too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like, I love how, you know, he's like, oh, you know, can we get out of here? I got to meet up with Vito later. And Lash is like, oh, nobody tells Lash Legend when to end the show. And he like greases her palm. He's like, hey, listen, go get yourself something nice and forget about it. I'm here for it.
I wonder if he was talking about Big Vito, the one and only.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, dude, that would really be something. But the intrigue continues because we go from Tony D'Angelo.
I kind of want like an FBI reunion for Tony D'Angelo.
Fuck yeah, dude. FBI was underrated as fuck in the Ruthless Aggression era. I will die on that.
I know Big Vito, Nunzio, and who else?
Chuck Palumbo was part of it for a time.
Oh my
and Johnny
God.
the Bull Stamboli.
Stamboli, yeah. Stamboli was the one that went kind of. Oh, he started wearing a dress, right? Is that who that was, or was that Vito?
No, that was Vito.
That was Vito. Okay.
The dress.
Man,
dude, I'll tell you, like, that's why I'm kind of happy. You know, speaking of NXT 2.0, just so I can tie it all together and I'm not going on a random tangent.
Yeah.
I used to love about Ruthless Aggression SmackDown. Like, you already had, like, the APA bar. And speaking of FBI, I remember one segment where they were, like, doing, like, illegal bookie shit. Where, like, they'd get the main event and they'd be like, all right, you know, how much money you got on this one and that one? And they'd be collecting money from the locker room and stuff and placing bets.
Yeah.
Like, I love that NXT 2.0 kind of has that feel with Duke Hudson's Poker Room and stuff. I want more of that. I want it to really be like its own immersive kind of thing.
Toxic Attraction should have like their own special backstage thing.
Yeah, something.
Like, you remember when Adam Rose, like when we first met Adam Rose, he had like his own special party room with a bunch of like NXT trainees dancing in the background and like DJing and shit.
Yeah.
And if you paid close enough attention, you could see like Becky Lynch and Braun Strowman and shit back there. And it's like, oh, you know, 3 years ago this segment happened, and look at all these people that were in it. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
We need something like that, but like for other acts, not necessarily the same thing where you get like all the NXT acts in there, but like, you know, like the different acts that have their own special rooms backstage. And I want like Toxic Attraction to have one that's like Poison Ivy themed.
Yeah, 1000% with you there. 1000% with you there. Intrigue continues as far as building the future. Solo Sikoa versus Jeet Rama.
You know what, dude? I honestly wish I would have made this at least a nitpick, if not a heat of the night. What the fuck makes Solo Sikoa any different from just the third Uso? What, like, he literally has the same fucking moveset as the fucking Usos. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Everything he did look good in there. I'm waiting for him to talk because maybe that's where the distinctiveness comes in. I don't know.
He's never going to be as good of a talker as the Usos. And if he is, I can't imagine it's by much.
Right.
They're fucking incredible on the mic. Like, I just can't imagine this dude coming in and being better than the guys that are already so good at it. Like, you know what I mean?
You know what's funny? And maybe I'm kind of off the mark here, especially because we already have.
I'm also a little low-key worried that he's going to have a high-pitched voice, which would kind of ruin the illusion.
Oh yeah, that would definitely ruin the mystique. But you know, when they talked about him being like a Street Fighter and stuff, I almost kind of wanted him. And I said this about Barrett for fucking years because I remember old school TWitWoW. I used to say this all the time. I wanted to see like bare knuckle stuff. I know you don't do closed fists in wrestling, but like, you know, make. Well,
they do in WWE. It's not illegal in WWE.
Yeah, so like I really wanted, like when they're saying Street Fighter, I wanted this guy to be doing like punches and kicks and eye rakes, like really be like aggressive away from that typical Uso style as we call it. He even did, I mean, to your point, this is my biggest cosign with you because I was fine with it for the most part, but really now that we're digging into it, the idea that his finish is also a splash. I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
And like he even does like the ass in the corner move. Like, dude, you're literally just the third Uso. Why are they trying to build you up like this badass MMA dude? You're an Uso.
Bro,
You
everything
look
you're
like
saying.
the only difference between you and the Usos is that you're blonde, and like that can be taken away.
Yeah, bro, I'm telling you, everything you're saying, don't be surprised if it's content for a future Roman Reigns promo if they call this dude up and they want him to mix it up with the bloodline or some shit. He's like, what are you doing here? You're literally the third Uso. I'm Solo Sikoa. Yeah, I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to know that? Like,
Yeah.
you know? I'm
You
rooting
know
for
what
the
they
dude.
say? If it talks like an Uso and looks like an Uso and uses moves that the Usos use in the ring, it's probably a fucking Uso.
Yeah. I feel like isn't there an Uso like in terms of blood relation like an MLW or something and he actually
No.
is doing cool stuff?
He's not an Uso. You're talking about Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, the Samoan werewolf.
See now that guy makes himself interesting. I saw like a fucking GIF where he did like this almost like a springboard moonsault, but it looked sick as hell.
Dude, it literally
And,
like
yeah.
think like halfway between like Umaga and Yokozuna. Like he's fucking huge and he moves like a cruiserweight. It's insane.
See, that's what I wish we would have gotten here. I know Zola Skull wasn't like a huge guy, but just like do something that makes me remember you.
Yeah.
And
well, he did something that made me remember him, but not in a good way. I just remember him as, oh, that's the other Uso now.
Yeah. Man, Jey Uso really got the best deal of it all. He's going to be okay no matter how this all turns out. Like that singles run that he got to have, that's fucking set, man.
Absolutely.
He's like, you're all your own. I'm good. Oh my God, these fucking rednecks. Jesus Christ. Jensen and Briggs vignette.
This was so like I mentioned incel energy from fucking Gacy earlier. 10 times that much incel energy from these guys in this segment. Christ.
You know, okay. Because it's funny that I thought I'd be more down on this NXT, but I actually do feel like the urge to be positive because I did enjoy parts of the show. I do like that they're giving more characters vignettes. I do like that they're giving their characters
they're just
time
giving
to talk.
the fucking wrong ones.
Yeah, but this was so by the numbers, cliche, cringe bullshit. Like, oh, I beat him up so bad, I sent him to the hospital, and then the other guy finished the hospital.
The black dude that was with Briggs when Briggs was throwing horseshoes looked like he was there as a fucking hostage. He looked terrified.
Well, no, God, do I even want to say it? You know what? I will fucking say it. He's there as Briggs is like, oh, I have black friends defense because we know that,
But that's what I'm saying, though, is it literally looked like he was there as a hostage. Like, Briggs was like, hey, you, black guy, come here. I need you to stand here and look like my friend for 5 minutes while we shoot this.
Yeah, I just, it's not for me. It's not for me because I haven't liked these guys the moment that, like, they were supposed to be baby faces and they immediately go after Carmelo and Trick, who I think actually have charisma. And the moment that they commit to being baby faces, let me tell you something about Carmelo and Trick. The moment WWE decides, okay, we're hardlining like you guys as baby faces, they are going to be fucking over like gangbusters to me. Whereas I think these guys,
they're always going to be compared to the Street Profits because they're a black tag team. But I mean, if you have to make that comparison, I think they're going to be way more instantly over than them.
I mean, I agree with you. And here's the thing. I know that, because I know you've kind of grown thinking about this comparison, but literally Jensen and Briggs would just be better as a heel tag team as Cade and Murdoch 2.0.
Yes.
Just fucking run that shit back and make them heels. Like, because Cade and Murdoch, for what
that works a million times over because, like, with Cade and Murdoch, it was like you could very clearly see who the fucking Jannetty was in that. Like, it's the dude that looks like he just pulled off I-95 and put on a fucking wrestling trunks. Like, I'm sorry, but there is a huge difference in the quality of the look of Trevor fucking Murdoch and Lance Cade and Briggs and Jensen.
Yeah. Yeah, like, absolutely.
Trevor Murdoch has the look of an anti-draw. Lance Cade looks like a fucking draw. Josh Briggs and Jensen are kind of somewhere in between, but much closer to Cade than Murdoch.
Well, let me tell you something, bro. If Briggs would get back in that shape, we saw him
in NEW.
NEW. He is the draw of the team if he gets back in that shape. Jensen's kind of, maybe mid-card at best. Maybe he is just mid.
Jensen's got a better build than Briggs right now.
Yeah, which is, I can't even begin to articulate how sad that is. Because, I mean, we were looking at Briggs before, and I'm like, oh my God, that's like your next Undertaker almost with his height and everything else. And now he's kind of here, which is just really weird. But yeah, they should be heels. I don't buy them as faces. And again, like, I'm sorry. And I hate to be a broken record, and especially when I was the one that was like, oh, guys, we're going to be less repetitive. But I feel like this is a point that bears worth repeating. It just shows a complete disconnect from the culture right now. Like, of course, these guys are babyfaces in WWE's mind because they represent Americana and its quintessence, right?
Dude, I think what I hate so much about it is, like, Heavy Machinery was just a better version of this in every fucking way.
Yes, dude, 100%.
Right?
Oh my God.
Like, Heavy Machinery were actually charming and actually likable. These guys come off as, like, cold and unlikable and, like I said already, fucking incels. Like, they literally come off like fucking right-wing incel extremists.
And, like, dude, the thing about Heavy Machinery is I love that you made that comparison because, yes, 1,000 times.
Like, how do we literally go from blue-collar working man to, oh, I'm angry and I like to start fights because my dad had too high of expectations for me? Like, fuck off.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm there with you 1,000% because the thing with Heavy Machinery was, yes, Otis to me very clearly had, like, the singles potential. I'm still hoping him and Big E will feud at some point for that WWE championship.
Yeah.
But even Tucker, like, I remember when Heavy Machinery had that gauntlet match before that tag title elimination chamber.
Yeah.
And Tucker talked in one of those backstage exclusives. He was good.
Yep.
He was really good in that promo. So it's like you had two solid guys, whereas with Jensen and Briggs, you only seem to have one, and even that guy isn't living up to his full potential right now. Like, it's bad. It's bad. Like, it might be my least favorite act on NXT 2.0, and that's saying something. Like, I just groan when these guys are on the screen. But yeah, and like you said,
I need to find something.
Okay. But yeah, while Ashton's looking for that, guys, I just want to say too, like, when they were grilling the steak, I'm like, oh, Heavy Machinery did that better too, to Ashton's point. It's like, you find it?
Jensen is the fucking pet project here, dude.
Oh, wow, really?
Jensen is the fucking pet project. Yeah, dude, he's only 20 years old, and he's second generation.
Oh, wow. Well, that does it. Sorry, Briggs.
He's that's Bull Buchanan's son, dude.
Oh, wow.
Ben Buchanan. Yeah, Ben Buchanan is his real name. That's Bull Buchanan's son. He's only 20 fucking years old. That's what this is a vehicle to launch him. This has nothing to do with them wanting to push Briggs. This is a vehicle to create a star out of Jensen.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm not really fond of that, but
So follow my logic here. I had a thought of, like, what if these dudes are actually fucking older than the Heavy Machinery guys? How dumb would that be that we downgraded this far and they're not even younger? Briggs is 28, so he's right around the same age as Dozovic, as Otis. But then I was like, holy fuck, Jensen's only 20. Like, that's... And then I also saw that he's a fucking second generation guy and he's Bull Buchanan's son. I'm like, oh my God, like, it all clicks at that point, right? Because I was like, are we really going to do that? Like, they fucking got rid of Tucker and they broke up Heavy Machinery so that we could get this bullshit. And then it turns out Tucker's only 31 and Otis is only 29. And yet they're pushing these two schmucks. But yeah, it's entirely to get Jensen over.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God damn it, man. Fuck. So I guess there's that. I mean, you already, like, just own the conversation in the best way with the Heavy Machinery comparison. I can't top that or anything more to that, so we can mercifully move on from these, as you said, schmucks.
Mercifully, yes.
And so we get a Tian Shaw little vignette. Boa looks to Mei Ying. Mei Ying shakes her head. She's not going to go with him. So he goes, and we know that that's next. Then, Knight's on commentary, and he's like, oh, Grayson Waller versus Boa next. And so, then we come back. We do Boa versus Grayson Waller. I totally noped out of this. I have nothing to say about this. I literally did not watch this except for the roundhouse kick finish.
This
Boa
was
for the pin.
so fucking stupid, I swear to God. So, first of all, Grayson Waller's theme song reminds me of a song by Corpse, like the Twitch streamer Corpse husband.
Yeah.
He has a song called Hot Demon Bitches Near You, and it sounds very similar to Grayson Waller's theme song. So that was my first note on this. But second of all, the finish of this match was such garbage. And the worst part about the match itself, other than the finish, was that LA Knight was on commentary, which is probably why you noped out.
Yes. Oh my God. Well, that, and I just do not give a shit about really either Grayson Waller or Boa, but at least the latter might be getting ready to do something. I don't fucking know.
So Waller is up on the middle rope. And LA Knight just comes over to talk shit, and Waller gets distracted. Boa moves the middle rope, and Waller takes one of the worst looking front bumps I have ever seen a professional wrestler take in my life, and especially one as seasoned and experienced as Grayson Waller. And then he's like gets up woozy and then eats that buzzsaw kick, and again takes one of the silliest looking bumps I've ever seen. What the fuck are you doing, Waller?
I don't know. I don't fucking know what is going on there. To me, Grayson Waller, because apparently he's competed on 205 Live a lot. Maybe he's better on there. I personally don't care to find out.
This dude's got 4 years of experience under his belt, and he's a 30-year-old man, and he's still taking silly-ass bumps like that. He might even be 31 by now, but he took that bump. Like, what the fuck, Grayson? What was that?
What are you doing? Just what are you doing?
That was so bad. Dude, I'm serious. If you didn't notice it, I really want you to go back and just look at the bump that Waller takes off the middle rope when the rope gets moved. It legitimately looked like he had been training to wrestle for like 3 weeks, and he just this is just his first attempt at a front bump, and this is what it looks like.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Well, yeah, that happened. That existed.
Unfortunately.
We get the Duke's Poker Room follow-up. We already talked about that in the first segment. Then we get another Kaylee Raven. Yet these are so goddamn cringe to me.
They really are.
I'm gonna get everything out of this rage room that I paid for, and
my gimmick is I throw breakable things against walls.
God, dude, it's so fucking try hard. Like I honestly laughed at these. Yeah. I laughed because it's like, Jesus Christ, is this what still counts as rage these days? I thought I was old. Holy fuck. So yeah, that happened.
I mean, you mentioned old. We've talked about her voice before. She just does less than nothing for me.
I really don't blame you.
She sounds like Edna Mode from The Incredibles.
Yeah. Oh God. Now here's a bit of a discussion point, and I want to kind of hand the ball over to you here. I just want to set the scene before I do. We get another Tian Sha vignette. Boa comes back. The chair's empty. Mei Ying is gone. And he turns around, and her face paint, like he's taking it now, and he kind of does the mist or the smoke, whatever you want to call it. So, twofold question for you, Ashton, before I hand it for you. Again, I just want to do some table setting. One, should we be worried about Karen Q that she was released, or could this be a call-up, or even just a repackaging? And two, what do you think about Boa inheriting this gimmick?
Regarding Boa, I don't care. Genuinely, I could not care less. Regarding Karen Q, it's not that I don't care. I do care. I want her to succeed. I'm rooting for her. The problem is more that I just don't know what WWE, like, how do I put this? How do I say I don't know what they see in her without it sounding like I think she sucks? Because I think she's great, but I don't know whether they see her as a main event talent or like a main roster talent.
So you don't know where she would fit in their scheme.
Exactly.
Like, are you looking at
I don't know how to interpret this, because I'm like, do they like see a lot in her and they want to push her up to the main roster right away to fill a main roster slot and kind of pad out one of the women rosters on the main roster? Or do they want to, like, is it like they only had her doing the Mei Ying shit before she could fully recover and get in the ring, and then she got in the ring the one time and they didn't like what they saw from her in gimmick, so they want to repackage her and have her come back as just Karen Q? I just genuinely don't know what to expect out of this. I don't know, and I also don't want to like overly read into it and think like, oh, is it this or that, when it could have just been like she's not here, but she set like a weird little trap for Boa that would like, I don't even know. I honestly don't know. I'm like, I, I think honestly, I'm blaming this on NXT for not making it more clear what the fuck's going on.
Okay, so I really wanted your thoughts first before I gave my own. Where I'm at with this, I'm going to be brutally honest. They really killed this so quick. I thought that this had all the potential in the world for everybody involved. Zaya at least is going to SmackDown, so she's kind of getting a reboot somewhat, because I think she's going to come in as a babyface.
Yeah.
We'll judge that when we see it, because we do SmackDown reviews. So I've got nothing to say about that
But
right
you
now.
already know I'm not a fan of Zaya Lee. I think she's sloppy as hell.
Yes. But again, I'm gonna leave that for there, because I'm gonna give her a clean slate for SmackDown. We'll see how that goes. Boa, I think him getting this, I don't want to be mean, because he seems like a good dude. He seems like a good dude.
I
but it
wanted
seems like
to
a waste
be
to me.
behind Boa, and then they had him lose to who was at the time a no-name in fucking Zion Quinn, and now like all of a sudden I'm supposed to care because he beat scrub-ass Grayson Waller.
Yeah, and keep in mind, before that, he also beat Drake Maverick, but he needed help from fucking Mei Ying to do it.
Yeah, that's
and, like,
right.
That,
yep.
Yeah. So it's been rough for Boa, and I don't want to be that guy that like dog piles, because again, I'm in a good mood tonight, guys. But like, damn, man, I really don't care. Like, I don't care. They're gonna have to make.
Here's the thing.
They're really gonna.
It is not Boa as a performer's fault at all. It is entirely on the writing. It is entirely on the creative.
Well, yeah, because they killed any steam this act had. I have no idea, just to kind of answer my own question as well. So that's how you guys know how I feel about Boa. I just do not care at present. They're going to have to re-earn my interest.
Yes.
With Karen Q, if she's released, I'm sorry. If she isn't released, here's what I will say.
Hey, girl, if you got released, go to Impact. They treat their women with some respect.
Yeah, it really does seem like it. It really does, with what they're doing lately. I think here's what I'll say about Karen Q. So it doesn't seem like I'm just parroting you, even though I do really strongly agree with everything you said. I think it's also a tragedy that, like, we had a very rare women's performer that was also a character. And, we still kind of have that, I guess, with Alexa, but I don't know if we've even seen her since the whole Charlotte thing. I don't know what's going on with Alexa because I don't watch Raw. But, like, I feel like it was a better character than Alexa as well. Because Alexa, we were even laughing at her. What was the last pay-per-view where she was kind of doing, like, the fake, like...
Extreme Rules.
Or whatever. It was Extreme Rules. Yeah, we were laughing at her because it just looked so fucking bad and awkward and just weird. Mei Ying was really well presented.
Remember, she also lost to Indy Hartwell a few weeks ago. Just straight
okay,
up.
So let me be very careful with my wording, because you're right, she did. I'm just talking like aesthetics and production wise, like outside of like the booking that way.
Yes,
very well presented. I honestly felt like she could have been a believable women's champion. NXT very quickly disagreed. So I look at it as a loss of, this was a woman that I felt like could have been very character driven, because I remember her in ring, and I'm going to be honest, she has a very kind of, and she seems sweet. I don't mean this maliciously, but she kind of has that Mai Sakurai energy for me that you said recently, where like there was really nothing distinctive about her to me. She did everything well, but doing things well is different from being distinctive from the rest of your roster. And I just looked at her as like that reliable hand and really nothing more. But when you have a character like that, it's like, okay, now we can come back to the table and you can talk to me about main events and title reigns and all that stuff. I felt the same way about Chelsea Green. I think Chelsea Green's very solid in ring, but I think her best stuff comes when she has a character. I want more women as characters. I swear to God, if Alexa's the only one that's really allowed to do this, I will, pitch a fit on here, because that's really all I can do. But I don't want Alexa to be it. I feel like other women can do it that have 10 times the talent she does, both in terms of the theatrics and the in-ring. I feel like they missed the boat with Chelsea Green on that way, and they might have just missed the boat with Mei Ying. Or Karen Q, I guess, just used a more proper name here.
Right.
So I don't know what's going on with her, but I do see it as kind of a setback for the women's division in WWE, because this is a woman that actually had a character, and they quickly fucking nerfed it. And I just don't think that is a good sign. You guys have already shown that you can get workhorses in the ring anytime. Sasha, Bayley, Becky, Paige when she was wrestling Emma, like all those women proved it for WWE. Now I want to see women that can actually be characters. I think that's the next iteration of any quote-unquote evolution you're striving to do. So those are my 2 thoughts, or 2 cents on that. Anything else you want to say about this before I move on?
No, I don't.
We get Ciampa's promo. Fucking hell. Just, God,
rough, man, it's rough.
Yeah. You know what? Oh God, I really feel like I'm about to transform. I want to be on my bullshit so bad right now.
Do it.
Okay, so here's what fucking bothers me about old people. They're so proud.
That's the greatest beginning of a sentence I've ever heard utter from your mouth.
So here's my problem with old people is they are so proud for literally no fucking reason. Like Ciampa comes out here and he's like, "Oh, Halloween Havoc was a changing of the guard for NXT," and he's like, "Mandy Rose, new NXT Women's Champion, Imperium, new Tag Team Champions, Toxic Attraction, new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. Braun Breaker was supposed to be the new NXT Champion." But nobody told Tommaso Ciampa, shut the fuck up. Literally, nobody even, I don't remember anybody in that goddamn arena, which if they did, it doesn't matter anyway. I've seen what makes them cheer. I've never seen a collective of opinions more irrelevant since the Capitals class. And nobody asked you your opinion of so Tommaso, what did you think about Halloween Havoc? You bulbous basic bitch. Shut the fuck up. So he's talking, which already is a problem with this segment, is that he's talking. He's talking about how he's the god. See, and this is another thing. This is such boomer fucking energy. I'm the god of NXT. Yeah, you all fancy yourselves to be gods.
Dude, when he said that, I half expected fucking Gargano to come out and be like, excuse me, sir. Listen, I appreciate that we're both baby faces now, even though I actually act like one and you clearly don't. But also, no.
I'm gonna be honest, since you said do it, and I'm just gonna regret this a few hours later. In kayfabe, I'm not saying to do it for real. I want the next heel to go after Ciampa to really target that neck. Just take a crutch or just something, just really target that fucking
God,
neck.
Don't say that, because it'll be fucking LA Knight.
Oh, God, and then he'll fuck it up. So, yeah, anybody except LA Knight, because I don't want Ciampa to be in a fucking wheelchair. Sincerely. I just want to see him, in kayfabe, fucking humbled. What gave you the right? Oh, my God. So, surprisingly, here's where I thought this was going to go, right? Because even Ciampa was kind of alluded to, and this is usually the point where somebody's music hits, and I'm like, okay, we're going to get our next contender. Whoever it was going to be. I wouldn't have had a name in mind, and it would have been interesting to talk about a name on here if they gave one, but it was Carmelo Hayes. And Hayes and Trick essentially say, as long as we're here and as long as I'm holding this, you're the one taking a back seat. I'm the top champion here, not you. And, Trick is just like, oh, talk your talk, being the hype man. And they kind of go back and forth. And then Ciampa, because the Boomer's always going to get the last word, is like, Mello, you almost had me there for a second. I couldn't hear you over this Ciampa's going to kill you chance, which, again, crowd, why do you consistently fail me at everything? At everything. Because they're chanting at Mello like, oh, Ciampa's going to kill you. And then Ciampa says, you almost had me for a second, but then you took off your sunglasses and I looked in your eyes and I said, that man doesn't believe a word he's saying. And, Mello was just kind of trying to brush it off like, oh, no, I believe it. Ciampa, that ends up popping, I think, Trick in the mouth after a bit more, back and forth. And Mello's kind of looking like, oh, how dare you? And, that whole thing. And Ciampa's like, oh, this is mine. And then he clutches the belt. God, Jesus Christ.
He's clutching his pearls.
Yeah. Typical boomer fucking. Is that change? No! And, he's going up to the back.
That might be the best boomer impression you've ever done.
He ends up going up the ramp. Gargano's music hits. They have a stare down, which I think they thought it was more epic than it actually was. And I'm like, oh my God, Gargano, I'm liking you now. Please don't waft in this whatever the fuck this is any longer than you have to. And then the NXT Twitter was like, one more time? No.
Oh, it's definitely going to happen. If NXT's Twitter teased it, it's 100% happening.
You know what? I respect that, and you're not the problem here just because you're right. But I want to go on record officially and say NXT that if this does happen, one, again, I reiterate, no. And two, I'd also just like to say for the record that you're wrong. You're just, and I know you're just thinking, well, I didn't make any kind of a statement or a claim, and it's like, well, no, you put this on. You're implicitly making the claim that this is something I wanted to see. Don't you ever speak for me.
Don't tell me what I want.
Exactly. Yeah, you're wrong. The way that they just kind of looked at each other, and Gargano's just like, funny how I changed, you didn't, huh? And Chip is just scowling because deep down he knows Gargano's right, and it's like, I'm the champion. Shut up. Like, oh my god, just go away. So then we get our fucking tag team main event after I got all the boomer out of my fucking mouth. What did you think about the Way versus Hayes and Williams?
I thought this was really cool. I love getting to see Johnny do like the knuckle crawl with Loomis. That was really cool.
Yeah, I agree, man. I was here for this. I thought this was good stuff. Yeah. And yeah, ultimately Hayes and Williams win.
Yep.
When Trick uses, I don't know if it was his shoe or Carmelo's shoe, because I was tabbed out at certain points. But he hits Loomis in the head. Hayes gets his leg drop, which looks sick as shit, right across the back of the head, and gets the 3 count. Pickiest of nits, because I like Hayes and Trick. I hate that Loomis has to be the fall guy every fucking time.
Dude, right? Dude, did you notice at the beginning of this match, Loomis, like it was going to be Loomis versus Trick, and Loomis was like nodding Trick away, like he wanted to be in the ring with Mello. And I'm like, oh, are they maybe going to set up Loomis to challenge for the North American title, which we've been wanting for what feels like fucking years at this point? And then he eats the pin. God damn it.
NXT didn't have the energy to even try and tell you, well, yes, but no. They were just like, well, no, and no.
Well, no, yeah.
And, they didn't even try, man. They didn't even try.
God damn it.
They're like, Loomis is married. That is the championship. Like, he goes home to Indy every night. What more do you want? And it's like, well, we'd like him to succeed at the wrestling thing. He seems pretty good at it. I don't know, maybe. And it's just like, no, this. You just witnessed his ceiling a few weeks ago. You all popped for it. You asked for this.
Suck it up. You asked for this.
Still one of the best heel turns of all time. Never forget that guy in the crowd randomly that was like, he had a right to turn, he had his reasons, and I'm like, that's so me, yes. So God, you got me so bad at that. Fuck. So yeah, Hayes and Williams win. Hayes and Williams win. I'm an adult. I have it together. And so yeah. What was that?
I just said, do you?
No, absolutely not. But if I keep talking, if I stop talking, I die. So I have to just keep it going. Wow. So Hayes and Williams get the win. So clearly we're kind of doing the back and forth. Like Gargano and Loomis got a victory, I guess, in the Fun House or Haunted House, and Hayes and Williams win where it actually matters.
Fucking Gargano and Loomis. Yeah, I was just gonna say, don't you love how Gargano and Loomis win the match that doesn't actually count?
Exactly. Like, and you can't even like match. We're using that term very liberally because it was just a series of vignettes, and they spooked him out and whatever. But then Hayes and Williams, like, they win the match. Yeah. Like, it's like, oh god. But you know what though? I see. I was kind of ambivalent about this because on one hand, it's like, yeah, like Gargano and Loomis, they've always been at odds, and yeah, I know they like reconciled in time for the wedding and everything, but they're not exactly a team like Trick and Mello are a team. So in one way, I get why they'd win. But one, again, pickiest in its, I just hate that Loomis is the fall guy. And two, I wonder now how they're going to establish Gargano getting his title shot unless it's just a given. Like, you know, because I've been hearing rumblings.
Because he's the real god of NXT.
Oh, God, yeah. But, I mean, hey, if Gargano would call himself that, at least it would be earned, given the fucking progression and stuff as a character he's had. But actually, as one final talking point, I did want to discuss with you, and this is going to take forever to load, though, and I don't want to hold up the show any more than I already have with my bullshit. But there are rumors of, like, the first takeover for NXT 2.0 potentially 4th. Being December 4th. Okay, so yeah, you already know about it then I don't need this. How are you feeling about that, looking at this NXT 2.0 landscape? Do you think that they can deliver something good? Do you think, how are you feeling about it?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know if I would say that I would expect them to deliver something good. I'm like, we've seen their best, or at least we've seen them try really hard last week at Halloween Havoc, and it was a pretty mediocre show. So I don't know. I think there's a very distinct possibility that the takeover magic might be gone, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think it's gone. If they want to do like what they did in early takeovers where they make those stars, like, you know, how they made Neville and then the whole
Yeah.
fucking rivalry with Tyson Kidd early on, if they want to kind of do something similar with Braun Breaker, because I'll tell you, if you're going to do December, that'd be enough time to build Braun Breaker back up and have him challenge Ciampa again, and then just have that be his crowning moment. I don't know.
Would you be
I don't
down
know.
for Braun to challenge Mello for the NA title?
I'd be down for that. I just feel like
I
where
only
I'm
say
at,
that
dude,
because there was like a really smooth transition from Trick and Mello to Andre Chase, who ended up being Braun's opponent tonight.
No, I think you make a really great point there. I just think where I ultimately come down is I don't care if it's North American title or NXT title. I just think Braun needs gold around his waist soon because he's a very overact.
Gotcha.
And I would like to see how he handles himself as a champion and carrying that responsibility. Because I know a lot of people heckled him because of the rope slip that he had at Halloween Havoc.
Yeah.
But I still think the dude's fucking great. Like, I love
Yeah.
Braun. Like, it's really gotten to a point where I anticipate him on these shows.
Right.
So I would love that for him. I did just want to talk to you about it, though. God, I'm not even going to ask you what kind of a card you'd want because, like, I know the card we're going to get, and it really doesn't matter talking about the card we want because
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
wouldn't even
say,
be
what card do I
surprised.
want? Gee, let's see. Let's maybe do like main event. God, Cameron Grimes versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship.
Yeah.
Semi-main. How about Carmelo Hayes versus Santos Escobar for the North American Championship? Women's Championship. Gigi Dolan somehow ends up with it and defends it against Io Shirai instead of Mandy. Tag
Yeah.
titles: GYV versus MSK because fuck Imperium. Like that. Like my dream card looks nothing like anything even remotely close to what we're actually gonna get.
Yeah, I will say my misgiving about this takeover, which is still like a little over a month away, if that's the date they're going with. It could be a completely different date. The sheets could have gotten it wrong, but just
Right.
going by that, which is all we
Right.
have to go by,
Yeah.
you've got a pretty weak roster of champions, Sans, Mello, and like one half a Toxic Attraction. Because I do love Gigi and I'm happy for her, but yeah. All right,
Gigi might
just
be
wanted to
like
kind
the most problematic person that we still like.
of yeah. Potentially. But I did want to have a sidebar with you about that takeover because I do think they're getting ready to try and do something like that. I even saw on the No DQ article that I was trying to pull up, somebody even say, I don't see the point in takeovers anymore. Like, why not just do TV specials like you did with Halloween Havoc? And then when you feel more comfortable in your
I
roster.
wonder if 4 weeks after that takeover, if we're going to get an edition of New Year's Evil.
Probably. That's a good point, actually. I didn't think about that. Dude, I can't believe 2021's almost over. That's fucking wild to me that we're in November right now.
Dude, 2 months from today will be 2022.
Jesus Christ. And
We
I feel
are
like we're still
literally 60 days away from New Year's Day.
That's wild, man.
Right?
That's honestly fucking ridiculous because for all intents and purposes, we're still in the pandemic.
Yeah.
And like I just feel like COVID time has just been like, okay, yeah, so you remember how time used to work? Uh-huh. Yeah, not anymore. What? And then it's just like, oh, you'll see. You'll see.
You remember normal? Okay, well now everything feels extremely fast and extremely slow at the same time, and you don't know how to explain it. Why? Because fuck you, that's why.
Exactly, yeah. Why? But yeah, with that said, that was NXT, so let's get to our next segment.
Yeah.
High spots and low shots. I'm gonna say character-wise, my low shot's Duke Hudson, because you got cleaned the fuck out, son.
That's a completely valid low shot, I think.
Yeah, so your low shot?
Cora Jade, because she got her ass beat, she lost her win streak, and her boyfriend didn't come out to save her when she was about to get her head stomped in.
Oh, yeah. Jeez, that rough night for Cora Jade.
Yeah. Like, if I'm her, next week, I'm going backstage and being like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude, for sure. Who do I want to give my high spot to this week? Kind of a weaker roster than I expected for high spots. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna give it to
I know
fucking
how.
Braun Breaker. Fuck
Nice.
it.
Good.
He shut down Andre Chase. He had a great promo, and I'll tell you, him being able to talk and having that passed down from his Steiner
Yes.
lineage, this dude's gonna be okay. He's gonna be just fucking fine if he can just tighten up the in-ring stuff. Yeah, he's got it made. I look forward to his
Oh,
WWE Championship match where he's belly to bellying Big
it's
E like 25 fucking
oh
times.
god.
So
It's so great to just remember watching him grow up. I still remember the first time he said, "You two bitches."
yeah, exactly. And Rick's like, "That's my boy."
Oh, my high spot is Zion Quinn for obvious reasons. He has an amazing look. He got a promo tonight, which he sounded great in. He got to sing a little bit, which I won't say he sounded great in, but he sounded good enough. He got to show off some dance moves. He got to make a damn fool out of Robert Stone, and he was a beast. And he got eyed up by Elektra Lopez. What a great night for my boy.
Definitely. I mean, again, guys, that's something I do want to stress about NXT 2.0. Despite whatever grievances we may bring upon the product on these shows, you can already see, to Ashton's point, they have more gems coming out of this in just like a month of operation as NXT 2.0 than they did in years as like WWE PWG
Oh, you know what?
kind of thing.
Let's see. NXT 2.0, episode 7 was last week. So let me update the title to make sure that we know that this is episode 8.
Yeah.
NXT 2.0 review, episode 8. There we go. Save.
So yeah, episode 8, if it's a weekly program, that would be, we're at 2 months now at NXT 2.0 already. It doesn't even feel like, wow, that's, again,
COVID time, man. It's fucked.
Yeah, we refer you back to the previous discussion about COVID time. Yeah, they've got gems on there. They really do. Zion Quinn, Braun Breaker, Gigi Dolan. You know, it's I know they're gonna try and make Solo Sikoa something. Maybe they will. Let's wait and see. Hell, even Andre Chase isn't so bad in kind of the lane that he is. We got to remember Odyssey Jones, Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, Odyssey. I really, you know what and you already pointed this out, so I'm not trying to say that I'm bringing something new to the table. I'm just really deep, like doubling down, emphasizing. It's been far too long since we've seen Cameron Grimes wrestle a match.
Yeah, dude, yes. God, I hope that comes soon. Maybe next week. I don't know. But yeah, guys, with that said, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to like the videos you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top choice result for NXT 2.0 reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. Be sure to subscribe, click the bell icon so you never again miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box, including the TWitWoW Patreon. The 2 things that I always like to talk about. Donating at the $1 tier gets you additional Q&A questions. Q&A will be December 2nd next month. We are not doing a Q&A this month because the last Thursday in November lands on Thanksgiving, and we want you guys and ourselves to be with our families and our friends on this holiday, so we'll reconvene a week after. So you have ample time. You have a whole month still to get your Q&A questions in. Please do so. If you donate $1, you get 2 additional Q&A questions for a total of 5. That's because non-Patreon donors currently only get 3 Q&A questions. I, of course, though, always encourage you guys to donate $3 to the TWitWoW Patreon so you get the additional questions and access to the TWitWoW Discord. It's an amazing Discord, really passionate group of people. There's a channel for virtually anything you'd want to talk about, and we do game nights on Mondays. We convene till late on Monday doing both Among Us and Code Names. Really fun game. Always great when you've got, really exciting teams or teams that just want to let it ride. So yeah, we do game nights on Mondays. Consider joining us for those. We'd greatly appreciate it. With that said, guys, follow us both on Twitter. I'm at John_TWitWoW. My pinned tweet is to collect Q&A questions. Again, you got a whole month. Pinned tweets there waiting for you. Non-Patreon donors, 3 questions. If you donate the $1, or again, preferably 3 for the Discord access, you get up to 5 questions. So it's right there waiting for you. Ashton's Twitter at Ashton_TWitWoW. His pinned tweet is the TWitWoW schedule. This has the first few days of November on it, so he's still got that schedule up, and it's still
very
valid.
Close to getting the November schedule up.
Excellent. And as it stands right now, guys, because Stardom actually got their shows up earlier than we expected.
Yeah.
Is our next thing just Friday, dude, with our SmackDown review?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Because I'm looking right at this, and we did the stuff that was supposed to be, today and Thursday, Monday and today. Just kind of move back a bit. So yeah, guys, we will see you Friday, November 5th at 10 p.m. Eastern time for our SmackDown review. We'll be sure to talk about everything happening there, including maybe Roman Reigns being back because he wasn't on the show last week, interestingly. So you'll get your best coverage of SmackDown here at TWitWoW. So until then, guys, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Tune in. Peace out.